guys, BBI here. I want to stop and say thanks for tuning in and checking out whatever the video is about that's about ready to come up next. If you could take a minute and hit subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy what you've seen here, make sure to hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Anyhow, guys, all that aside, let's get on with the show. Well, Greg, this is your BMK 4-pill. This is actually a really well-built box. It's an ICA cabinet that has been powder coated, and then a powder coat hammer finish. It's a really beautiful finish on this box. And if I was to critique anything in this thing, I'd be lacking. There's just really not a whole lot I can say other than I'd maybe use a little bit bigger resistor here, but this amplifier is built by a professional who conducts himself as a professional individual should, and builds a good product. And he's been jamming them out. But the reason it's here is it fell in output power. So we're going to change its output tuning capacitor, which I'm pretty sure is what the problem is. I don't know, I haven't quite tested this thing yet. We're going to throw it up on the workbench and give it a shot here. And we're going to add sideband to it. So I'm just going to complement the work that's already here. But this thing is really clean and neat and organized and cleared and, well, properly put together. Like 2 power leads, relays done right, big distribution bus, decent sized wire feeding the transformers, metal clad capacitors where they should be, the right size electrolytics in it where they should be, fire resistant or flame resistant resistors, good ferrite, decent combiner network, and the input tune I'm sure on this thing is going to be spotless. Just saying. Now, when was the last time you watched another amp builder's video where he was willing to compliment another builder's handiwork? It's been a hot minute, I think, for you guys. Look at how good the finish is on this thing. It's crazy. Alright, I'm going to do my magic to it. We're going to go look and see why the power fell out on this thing. If it was a transistor that failed, but the 10 ohm resistors, not burnt. So, we're going to give it a hot minute. We're going to go run over it and we'll find out what's going on. When we loop back, this thing should probably have sideband in it, and it should be fully functional. On that note, I shall return. That was an interesting way to spend my afternoon. So I thought this thing was going to be this little guy. It was going to be a quick fix. How this thing presented itself to me was that the customer called me and says, man, I was running this thing and I got the dead key a little bit too high. And when I went to run it, I noticed I was way down in output power. I said, oh man, I've seen that before. It's normally a capacitor that goes bad. Just send it on up here, we'll take a quick look at it. So the first thing I did was I dove in and I pulled this cap out and it was still good. And I thought, well, maybe it's breaking down when it gets hot. So I put one of my caps in its place and the thing wouldn't produce anything more than about 600 watts output power. So 90 watts input peak drive. So I proceeded to check every single thing in this amp. Believe it or not, this thing has been apart about 3 times. And this little scuff in the clear over here, this is from me chemically washing it to get rid of all the flux. I've had it apart about 3-4 times. I pulled each one of the transformers up. I spun each one of the beads to make sure it wasn't cracked. I've checked every cap in this box. The 330s, the 1000s. Pardon me. The 1000s, the 120s. I've checked everything, counted the number of turns. I went through where I was like, well, maybe the turn ratio was wrong. So I called the guy that built this, who's a friend of mine, and we were talking. He's like, no, Well, here's the screwed up thing is I went and I got up to 5 turns in each one. I went to 4 turns and I went to 5 turns. And the output transformer is trying to find the right resonance. And so I got up to 5 turns on this thing and I got it up to about 750 watts, but the input tune was just deplorable. And so then I came over here and I played with the input capacitance, and I got that to level down. And I thought, no, it's not right. And the reason it wasn't right is because I could see my combiner resistor back here on the back of the amp. It was still getting a little bit warm. So there was some kind of imbalance that was taking place. And then I started looking at the 10 ohm resistors with the FLIR, and this one was getting a little hot. Now, when I was on the phone with my friend that built this box, he goes, man, I've seen it where in the past when we were running the DEIs, which is the worst transistor ever built, ever, so they would all lay down uniformly. I was like, okay. He said, but these are HGs, even though they're made by the same company, blah, 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 blah. And so I went down the long path to eliminate everything except for the core component. Because we just don't see this present itself like that. So I called the customer and said, man, I tested every goddamn thing in this box. So the only thing it can be is the transistors. I pulled these 4 transistors out, and they still have viable gains to them, but there's something wrong with these things. I haven't had a chance to load test them or pull out the big Tektronix gain slope meter and actually put them underneath the load and see where they break down at. This one came apart when I pulled it apart. I don't feel too bad about that because there is something wrong with those parts. Hey man, check it out. 1000 watt slug and peak, 1000 watt slug and average, 5 watt slug and reverse. 90 watts of drive. 900 watts of peak power output. 300 bird. No input reflect. And this is back 99% of the way it was when it came in here. I'll probably put this output cap back in there because it's still good. Mine's still in its place back here in the corner. This thing is perfect now. It was the pills. Something collapsed inside the transistors. So now, last but not least thing, is we're going to put bias in it. Pre-made parts, ready to go in the hole. So when we come back, there's going to be an extra relay, a couple little pieces of extra wire, and a new switch on the front of this thing. Let me slap the sideband in this thing, then we're going to give it a chooch. Yay, we're done. Alright, so let's see what radio I got hooked up now. Alright, Striker 955. Okay. So here we go, we're all cleared up. Made it all look nice and pretty again. Washed it. And 4 brand new transistors. Got the bias added to it. Right here. Put a label on the front, on, sideband delay. Added our switch bias. Now we're going to run at 14 volts. It's a 1000 watt slug and PEP. 1000 watt slug and average, 5 watt slug and reverse, back from the bird, 10,000 watt dummy load. 955, 5 watt slug sent between the 955. And of course the BM Technologies 4-pill. So let's show you what I'm going to put into it for drive first. Right at our 90 watts. Turn the amp on. Crazy low, right? Nice, clean power. Okay, done is a done thing. Guys, I gotta run away. I'm gonna put the lid on this thing and I'm gonna send it out the door. I don't have any more time I can spend on this. It sucked up too much time as it was. I just had to eliminate every other thing it possibly could be before I decided I was going to replace the man's transistors. And boy howdy am I glad that I did. Alright, on that note, I'm history. Gentlemen, my name is BBI. Without a shadow of a doubt, I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. Come check us out, www.bbiamps.com. Come find me on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. I'll see you guys. I appreciate all the projects. Bump, bump. From the biggest duck in Idaho, I'll see you. Bye.